From Emilia Clarke not returning to the next movie to the disappointing box office numbers, there's a lot of reasons why Emilia Clarke doesn't want to return to the Star Wars franchise.
It's in the past, Han.
Not for me. The only reason I'm here, I was doing this job, get a little money, and then I was going to come back to Corellia and find you.
Well, now you don't have to. I'm right in front of you.
The Game of Thrones actress made the revelation in an interview with IndieWire. If you're a fan of her character, Kira from Solo, there's bad news. I'm sorry to say, but you probably won't get to see more of her. Clarke recently shut down rumors about her returning to other Star Wars projects. Even though there's been no word if there's going to be an official sequel to the movie, she suggested that she wouldn't be returning to the sci-fi franchise anytime soon. So she's actually kinda keeping us hanging.
With what? Your scarf? Not my style.
My ship. Against your ship. Time to find out if you've got the nerve.
But I know better, of course. She's got so many cool things going on for her. It doesn't seem like she has any interest in coming back to Star Wars, but she did say it would be lovely if it were to happen again. It's a sequel to her only appearance in the franchise. The movie was basically a Han Solo prequel. It was released in 2018. Clarke played the role of Han's love interest and his childhood best friend. So basically, Clarke said she would love to come back as Kira, but she pointed out that Disney hasn't shown any interest in making a sequel to Solo. Probably because the first one didn't do so well at the box office. Clarke actually really loves her Star Wars character and has talked about some ideas she's come up with for what could happen to her in the future. She has even joked that she'd like to share her ideas with Disney, but she knows that's not really possible, and she's not too worried about it. Clarke isn't the only one who'd like to continue with the Solo movies. Other cast and crew members have shown interest in a sequel too.
I'm an outlaw. What? I'm not kidding.
Okay, outlaw, you can tell yourself that. But I might be the only person in the whole galaxy who knows what you really are.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kasdan, who co-wrote the movie, wants to fill a plot hole about Kira's involvement in the Kessel heist. Apparently, she shouldn't have been involved in the first place. Alden Ehrenreich, who played Han Solo, is also on board for a sequel. He thinks it would give him a chance to really embody the older version of Han that classic fans know and love. At the end of the day, it's up to Disney to decide whether or not a sequel will happen, but they've been figuring out what to do with the Star Wars franchise as a whole.
I'm not sure we have that kind of time.
We could. We could have all the time we want after the job. You and I. What?
I want to
You want to?
tell you everything that's happened.
In fact, director Ron Howard was pretty clear about the future of the Solo movies. He said that there are no plans for a Solo sequel from Lucasfilms. Howard explained that any talk of a sequel is just coming from fans, and that the studio has other priorities right now. Fans have been discussing the possibility of a sequel on various online platforms such as Star Wars fan websites, YouTube channels, and message boards. The first Solo movie introduced us to a young Han Solo, with the intention of expanding on their stories in future films. But the disappointing box office performance of the movie, which only made $392 million globally, changed things. This was a huge letdown for the studio, and clearly one of the reasons Howard does not believe they will invest in another film. It's been 4 years since the last Star Wars movie, and honestly, it seems like the future of the franchise might not be in the movies at all. It seems that the bosses might be swapping the silver screen for the small screen, and here's why I think so. So basically, after Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2012, things really changed. They decided to continue the Star Wars story beyond George Lucas's original plan for the original and prequel trilogies. To do this, they introduced a new crop of heroes in 2015's The Force Awakens. This included characters like Rey, Finn, and Poe. They also brought back beloved characters like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Princess Leia. The Force Awakens was a massive hit at the box office, but unfortunately, the subsequent movies didn't perform as well. It was around this time that Lucasfilm was also experimenting with anthology movies, which were standalone films set within the Star Wars universe. The first one, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, was released in 2016 and was a hit both critically and commercially. But the second one, Solo: A Star Wars Story, didn't do so well when it was released in 2018. Solo's underwhelming box office performance put a damper on plans for more anthology movies. It also caused the studio to rethink their approach to the planned Obi Obi-Wan Kenobi movie trilogy. This was eventually scrapped and turned into a live-action series. So then, what's next for the Star Wars franchise? There was a lot of buzz surrounding the upcoming film Rogue Squadron. It will be directed by Patty Jenkins and released in 2023, but then it got moved back because Jenkins needed to focus on directing Wonder Woman 3. Obviously, fans were disappointed by the delay. Jenkins had reassured everyone that the Rogue Squadron movie is still in the works. Meanwhile, Taika Waititi, the director of Thor: Love and Thunder, has been working on his own Star Wars movie. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy has even said that Waititi's movie is next on the list. But recently, the movie's planned 2023 release date was removed. This has left fans wondering when they'll get to see it. There's more interesting news regarding a new Star Wars project that is being co-written by Damon Lindelof. That's the man behind the hit TV show Watchmen. This new outing is set after The Rise of Skywalker, and while it's rumored to be standalone, it could still feature characters from the sequel trilogy. I don't know for sure who will be in it, but there are some possibilities. For instance, fans have been wanting to know more about Lupita Nyong'o's character, Maz Kanata, and Daisy Ridley has said she would be open to returning as Rey, so these two characters could potentially make an appearance. It's exciting to think about what Lindelof could do with the Star Wars universe. So clearly, they're not entirely done with the movies. There's also a mystery movie in the works. The most recent Star Wars movie news is that the final one in development is being directed by Sean Levy from Deadpool 3. He's keeping the details pretty mysterious, but he's definitely committed to getting it done. It's been 4 years since The Rise of Skywalker, and unfortunately, there are no confirmed release dates for any upcoming movies. Some projects have even been cancelled or put on hold. There were some rumors about a new Star Wars movie from Kevin Feige, who's the mastermind behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, we haven't heard anything official yet. But even if we're not sure what's going on with the movies, there are still plenty of Star Wars TV shows to keep us entertained. It used to be that Star Wars TV shows like The Clone Wars and Rebels were mainly seen as cartoons for kids and the most devoted fans. All that changed when Jon Favreau brought The Mandalorian to Disney Plus in 2019. The Mandalorian has really changed the game and has even paved the way for other spin-off shows like The Book of Boba Fett. What's more, it's been a great way to incorporate storylines and characters from the expanded universe. Some of which were previously scrapped have now been reintroduced into the main Star Wars canon. Overall, it's been a really exciting time for Star Wars fans, with new and innovative projects on the horizon, and that's why Emilia Clarke doesn't want to return to the Star Wars franchise.